Hey everyone, welcome to Chainout Podcast. I'm Jeremy, and with me as always is your favorite co-host, Darryl.
Favorite co-host?
Well,
I'll take that.
The only other co-host, so at this point, you
I
can
guess,
be the
yeah.
favorite,
But you're
least favorite.
You're my co-host, so yeah, okay.
Well, I'm your favorite co-host, aren't I?
One of my favorites.
Oh, ouch.
Welcome along to episode 11. We got a big, busy episode for you today. A good guest again. We're just rolling out the barrel with all these good guests that we're getting. I don't know how we're managing this, Jeremy.
We're just lucky that way. We've got a lot of great listeners helping support us. That support's helping us get guests. Every guest we've had on has been amazing, and tonight's not going to be any different. We did last week, though, episode 10. We did go without a guest just to make sure that we could still fly solo. Hopefully everyone enjoyed just the two of our voices. I actually enjoy hearing somebody else's. Just the two of us. You're in a good mood tonight, buddy.
I'm always in a good mood when I'm talking to you, Jeremy. We're talking about disc golf.
Yeah, how could we not be happy when we're talking about disc golf, right?
Exactly, yeah. That's what we do.
Well,
some people would say not very well, but
no,
I disagree.
But we're getting better day by day.
Day by day, yeah. Speaking of getting better,
yes,
you're looking better. You sounded better last week. You're looking better this week. Putting me to shame, Jeremy.
I just keep upgrading, Darryl, and I think there's not much more I can do. This is as good as I can possibly look. I'm going to have to get a makeup artist next to help me out.
Well, that wouldn't be too long along the way.
Yeah. Well, I got a camera. So now we've got lights, we've got a microphone, we've got a camera. I think that's about all. Oh, we got a background. I think I've done everything I can do to up my game for podcasting.
We're good. We're good to go. So what's been happening this week?
Well, last night was putting league. And I was talking about getting better. I'm trying to get better at putting. Didn't play my best putting league night, but I still did okay. But while I was there, I ran into Mike Carey because he's there every night helping set up. He's part of Putting League, and he's an Edmonton Disc Golf Association board member.
I know Mike. He was a spotter at hole 5 at the Edmonton Open at Bailey's.
Right.
One of my fellow spotters. Yeah, I was on hole 16, and he was on hole 5.
Yeah, you guys were awesome volunteering.
Shout out to Mike.
Yeah,
thank you.
Way to go, Mike. But yeah, you guys were awesome volunteering because at that tournament that weekend, it was hot. And the mosquitoes were insane. So, the people playing, you're playing in a tournament. When you're volunteering, you're on your own accord. And I remember because Mike had that awesome netted covered hat. And I think he didn't have a single piece of his body exposed. He was prepared.
Yeah. No, I was envious when I saw that when we met up after the second round when it all finished. Or third round, second day. When I seen that he had that net on, I was like, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'll remember that for next year. Yeah, that was good.
That's a pro tip for volunteers, hey?
Exactly. Yeah, in the Edmonton area. Yeah, if you're going to, definitely get a netted hat and gloves and don't have any bit of skin exposed.
Right, or you don't even have thin clothes because those mosquitoes, it's like they've got drills on the end of their noses when they're
exactly. Yeah,
coming after you. But anyways, I got to see Mike. Yeah. So I saw Mike. He had reached out to me before and asked me kind of an ominous question and said, what's the main color of your disc golf bag and what's the trim color? And off the top of my head, I didn't know. And he asked me what yours was as well. So then he gave me an envelope last night and he said, this is a gift.
Wasn't a brown envelope or anything? Slid under a door?
Oh, okay. No, nothing like that. It wasn't clandestine or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You've got me interested. You've got me hooked.
Yes. So you haven't seen this yet. So you might have to help me verbally describe it for anybody who's listening on one of Apple or Spotify or something. But what he gave us was one of these. Each of us one of these.
Oh wow!
So if you take a look at that, that's red and gray.
That's cool. So I'm guessing. I mean, my bag is red and gray.
Yes. So this is yours. So what we've got is red. Go ahead. Tell them what you see.
Well, it's I would describe it as a woven lanyard, red and gray thread, with gray and red beads at the bottom.
Yeah. And do you know what it's for?
A loop at the... No, I do not. It looks like
Yeah,
on the
well,
silver part there, there's like a little silver bead wrapped around it. So I don't know if that has any. It slides up and down. I don't know if that has any bearing on it.
well, you're on the right track. So what this is a mini scorekeeper for you. So what you do
Oh, okay.
is this side here with the gold bead,
Right.
that side's your birdie side.
Okay.
And then the other side is your bogey side.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is on hole 1, you get a birdie. You slide a bead up to the top. You've had one birdie.
Right.
Say hole 2, you get a par. You don't do anything. So right now you're down 1.
Yeah.
So then the next hole, you get a double bogey. Well, you put 2 up there.
That sounds like
now so now you're on the other side, right? So and you just kind of work your way back and forth, and that will help you keep a quick visual of what your score is. So really neat. I've seen them before, but I didn't know what they were, and now that I know it, I really like it.
Yeah. No, that's an awesome idea. Thanks, Mike.
Well, yeah, thanks, Mike. And he actually
color coded as well.
Yes. So I have a white and black camo bag with black trim. So I've got white and black.
Right. That's sweet. That looks sharp.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that Mike had said about them was that it is a friend of his that makes them. And they are taking requests. I don't know if we got these ones as a gift. So I don't know what the cost is on them, but they are really cool. So if you're interested in them, you could talk to Mike Carey.
That's pretty awesome. Does that go down as like our first, like, not paid sponsorship or anything because we're not getting paid, but like, is that our first promotion?
I think it's like our first like gift to the show, or
first gift to the show, like first paid spot. No, like I keep saying paid, but I mean, like I feel special. Like, you know, we didn't receive a hair trimmer or anything like that, but you know, I think I'd rather have the birdie bogey counter.
Me too. I'll start with that before we get to the whole Manscaped side of things and
exactly.
Else
I didn't want to give them a plug, Jeremy. They're not paying us. They're not giving us anything at this point. No, that's really cool. Yeah, it's a good idea as well. What my only concern would be that they have enough beads on the bogey side. Because if I'm getting double bogeys and bogeys on every hole, I think I might run out on one side. Can I borrow from the other side?
I guess you could.
I guess I just got to use that as motivation to not run out of beads.
That's awesome. Well, I know you got out this week though, and you hadn't been out in a bit because of the cold, and you got out to the hills, and I don't think you would have had a problem this week from what you were telling me. You would have been able to use the correct side of the bead counter.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to figure out what the name of that thing is, because I don't know. Bead counter doesn't sound right, but
exactly. Yeah, if we find out what it is, I'm gonna put a bar across the bottom of the screen and a website address or something like that. Yeah, no, I got out to the hills. Not a, friend of the show Kevin likes to say that it's not Augusta, but it's close by my house, and it was just a case of getting out. And I was going to go out with Mark, but unfortunately he had a sick person at home that he had to take care of just this week, so he didn't get a chance to get out. So I thought, rather than not go out, I'll just stop at the hills. Excuse me. I was going to play a quick 9 just to go around, but ended up playing 18. Hole 1 is still my nemesis, so I would have used the bogey side on hole 1. I just cannot seem to get anything less than a par bogey on that course on the hole 1. But yeah, ended up shooting 4 under, 2 bogeys and 6 birdies. So yeah, I definitely would have used the birdie side of the birdie bogey counter. I don't know what to call it. That's what I'm calling it.
Birdie bogey counter. I like it. And nice work on that. That's not you didn't challenge your -9 record that you're holding there, but a -4 is a pretty respectable score.
Yeah, anytime you can be under par is, even if it is an easier course. If you're under par, as you and Mark like to remind me, that it was a 165 round rating. So whether any of our listeners are actually keeping track of what their round ratings are, I mean, obviously now that it's been out for a while, like in the beginning, it wasn't quite accurate because there wasn't enough data, but more people keep using that UDisc data on the courses, the more the round rating is going to be a bit more accurate. And 165 around that number is, kind of average, what we aim for. Not average, kind of what we aim for for my level of play. So, that was right around where I should be, 165.
And you've now started your streak back up. We were talking about UDisc
Oh,
streaks, right? We've got it going
yep.
again.
Yeah, definitely check. Oh, I was going to say, I totally missed it. But while you're listening to this, drop a like on the video. If you're watching it, it takes 2 seconds. You can keep listening. You can keep watching this. Just click on the like button, and that's all we ask for. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, rate it right now. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, you made a good post on Instagram about keeping your streak alive and wanted to put it out there to our listeners that you thought you were doing quite well with a 43-week streak, and was quite proud of yourself, and I would be as well. I mean, keeping 43 weeks, hopefully the weather cooperates, and you're going to be able to keep that right through the winter and into next year. So you'll have over a year streak. But then, as most things in life, when you put something out there in the world, you got one-upped.
I did get one upped when I was thinking about that. Well, I already knew that Jana, a listener of the show, she was ahead of
That's
me.
true.
We knew that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I put it out there, and another listener of the show, Briggsy, came
Yeah.
in, and
Disc
he's
Dog
got
on
60
Instagram.
Yeah, Disc Dog, and he's got 63 weeks going right now. He's over a year.
Over a year of ever getting out at least once a week. That's at least once a week, because we know that he likes to play quite regularly. So he's going out multiple times a week. So yeah, 63-week run, and he even thought that wasn't quite accurate, because maybe there was a time he had an extra week in there, or but like we were trying to figure out why it's on 64 weeks. Maybe that was when they first started keeping track of our week streak, or whatever the case might be. But 64 weeks. So I guess we got to put it out there to the listeners, right? Challenge, if anybody else has a longer streak, put it down in the comments and upload a video, or send us a screenshot of your streak. Send it to chainoutpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. You can do that, or go find that reel that we put up on Instagram, on Facebook. You can put your picture down there.
Yeah.
And we need proof, because anyone could say they've got a 100-week streak, but we want a shot of it, and not a photoshopped one, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, Jeremy, what else have we got coming up on this episode? I'm thinking of one big thing.
One big thing. Are you thinking about the fact that we've got another guest on this show tonight?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so...
hand it over to you, because you're the king of the intros.
Yes, and now that I got the new mic, I think it's going to be a thing that we've got to intro it in my deepest, darkest late-night radio voice.
Go for it.
Here we go. Our guest tonight is not only a huge Edmonton Elks fan, but he is also the vice president of the Edmonton Disc Golf Association. We are excited to welcome Brock Ciochetti to the show. Welcome, Brock.
Welcome. How are you doing? Oh, I think Are you able to hear him, Jeremy?
I've got a little bit of feedback from Brock there, so let's see if we can get his sound fixed up. What do you think there, Darryl?
Yeah. Are you able to disconnect your mic and reconnect your mic?
Is that any better?
Oh, it's sounding like you're almost like Darth Vader or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm digging it. I'm digging the voice, but you're, yeah. Or either that, or you're doing your best Barry White impression.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing with my mic settings. So.
Yeah, you go ahead, continue to play with them there, and we'll. You know what it is? It sounds like you might be in witness protection, so we're not actually talking to Brock.
I thought.
There we go. How's that?
There we go.
There we
Now we
go.
got him in the show.
Yeah. Okay.
That has got
At least
to
you
be
know
one
how
of
to
the
fix
best starts. One of the best starts to an interview I think we've had.
Yeah.
I'm not
That
gonna
was
lie.
awesome.
That's literally the name of the setting it was on. Witness protection. I can be a robot. I can be a chipmunk. It's all good.
Oh, that is so funny,
Perfect.
because that's exactly what you sounded like. When you hear the playback, we got to keep some of that in, Darryl. We can't cut that out, hey?
Exactly. I was thinking about just asking him to leave and rejoin, but I think we're going to go with that, I think.
Works for
Yeah.
me.
So, how are you doing tonight, Brock?
I'm doing good. A little bit of a cough, so we'll have to lean out a picture a bit, but Looking
Oh,
forward
yeah.
to it.
How do you have you enjoyed the week? Have you managed to get out disc golfing now that the weather's warmed up a little bit?
No, I don't normally get out on the week.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's bowling Mondays, putting league Wednesdays, and training camp coming up on Fridays. So
Yeah,
busy
you got a
weeknights,
busy
but-
schedule. Yeah.
yeah, I might crash Winter League again though this Saturday. So we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, it'll be good to be out there. The weather's gonna be so good this weekend, and back at Hermitage, it's always a good time to play there too.
Yeah.
Now you said bowling on Mondays, is that right?
Yep.
And is that 10-pin or 5-pin? I have to ask because I was a YBC bowler growing up myself.
5-pin. I hate 10-pin.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's where we'll just leave it then.
There
So
wasn't
how long
any
have
hesitation on that either. That was cut and dry. That wasn't even, I don't mind it. That was a 10 pin is not for me.
Well, I don't think Darryl knows bowling as well, Brock, because that's pretty much what it is, right? You're either 5-pin or you're 10-pin. There isn't a lot in between.
If you head out east, there's like duck pin bowling or whatever. I haven't had the chance to do it, but it's weird. Or matchstick.
Oh.
So again, really skinny
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
pins, or the duck pin is really short pins. So,
Oh.
Yeah, that's new to me. I haven't seen either of those. I've seen, 5-pin. I've seen 10-pin on strings is probably the strangest thing I've seen that's different because usually 10-pin's not on strings, but
We get strings in England a lot.
there you go. So before you came on, Brock, I was in your introduction, I was talking about the fact that you're an Edmonton Elks fan. So in that, I needed to make sure when my guests come on or our guests come on, we're ready. So got my
We got you
Elks
covered.
shirt, got my Elks hat, we got the Elks hoodie, and I don't know if you've seen it, but Darryl has gotten into disc dyeing, and I gave him one of my
I'm going to take this off because I'm hot.
and he put together this
very nice.
Elks heat for me. So I'm pretty excited about that disc.
That was the first commission.
Nice. I've done one commission, and it was just a half black disc for Travis.
Oh, so he just wanted it right down the middle, half one color, half another?
Yeah, I kind of get that same effect that Simon had on that yellow and red one when he was still on
Right.
Discmania. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it just
see-
black and white?
well, the disc was yellow. So
Yellow.
and
Okay.
black.
Yeah. Nice. That goes together.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. There was a guy in League, in Nor'Wester League, who had a river that had an interesting pattern on it. And then when those ones spin, there's a point where it doesn't even, it either looks like they're still or it looks like they're spinning faster than they are. It's kind of neat when the dye job can change the visual effect of the flight of the disc.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Brock, bringing you on the show tonight, I think you've listened to a few of our episodes, and I'm glad that you have, so we appreciate that. You know that Jeremy likes to get your background and how you got into disc golf and all of that, but I want to give you time to think about it, and I want to have some fun with it as well. So I've come up with a superhero disc golf origin story for you. So maybe you and 3 of your friends launched yourself into space on an experimental rocket of your own design. While you were up there, you encountered some strange cosmic rays that changed you and your friend in different ways. For you, it gave you amazing disc golf skills that you brought back to Earth. You took up the sport, and you've never looked back since. Now, I don't know if that's your disc golf origin story, but why don't you tell us how you got into disc golf?
Okay, so we'll start with wasn't cosmic rays.
Okay.
It was a global pandemic.
A cosmic
and-
event of sorts.
Yeah. So 2020, during that summer, so my wife is big into dog sports, and she was competing in Frisbee and agility at the time. Agility basically got shut down, but Frisbee could keep going because it was outside. So the two of us signed up for a league of sorts called Throw and Go. So we would set up in a hockey arena outside. That was grass. They set up zones across the arena, and then you have 2 discs with you, your dog, stand behind the line, send your dog out, throw the disc, and then you get so many points when they catch it in a certain zone. Then the hard part is that the dog and the disc have to come back behind the line before you can throw again.
Okay. So there's a training component in it.
Yeah. So Ultra is way better for my wife than she is for me at bringing it back. So lots of times you're running out there because she dropped it halfway and then running back behind the line. But so
does that result in no points?
No, as long as the catch is okay, you're fine. But it's way faster if the dog brings it back and you can get more throws in. So
you get less tired as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. And what I didn't realize it at the time, and figured it out like a year or two into disc golf, is that the Innova Sonic is the most popular disc dog, or discs for dogs.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they just make it in different like widths for sizes of dogs. So
wow.
So is that different widths for, like, if you have a large dog, you have a different size disc than for a small dog?
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So, so did that, had a lot of fun. And then September rolled around and I had vacation but nothing to do. So my buddy and I went to Rundle with some dog discs and one Innova starter pack. And I think I played it another couple times that vacation and haven't looked back.
Now, when you first went to Rundle, were you aware of disc golf? Like, were you playing the 18-hole layout? Because I know we heard from Tim that his first time there, it was more of a safari golf, playing from the wrong basket to the wrong tee, or the wrong tee to the wrong basket sort of thing. Did you actually know about disc golf at that point?
Yeah, I'm a big prepper. So as soon as I decided I was going disc golfing, like, again, I looked up a starter set to pick one out. I probably already had UDisc installed, just because, again, I had looked it up and everything. So yeah, we did play the proper layout, but it was definitely painful.
Do you remember what your score was that first time out? Because it's always interesting to see where you are now from where you started.
No idea. I don't think. Again, I definitely wasn't paying for UDisc at the time, so I wouldn't have those stats go all the way back. But
yeah,
right. Well, I know for me too is I don't know if I could have I probably would have quit counting at some point if on my first couple rounds when it was, and if I had started at Rundle for sure.
Yeah,
it was only a year ago for me.
Hole 8. Yeah,
it was only a year ago for me, so I know that my score was plus 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right for a first round and never playing before. And, at least for me, when I first played, I was throwing with frisbees, right? Like an aerobie.
But then again, like I said on the podcast before, at Rundle, hole 7, I was playing to hole 10's basket. So, I mean, that round doesn't even count anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny, Brock, when you were talking about throwing the discs to the dogs and that kind of thing, it reminds me is that I still have a Nintendo Wii in my other room, and I showed Darryl the one night because they have a disc golf on there and it's just on a golf course and it's okay, but they have Frisbee dog is what they call it, and my wife and I love playing that, so it's exactly what you're describing, except the dog always brings it back. I've never had to get my me character to run out and grab it. So I did see too, when we were looking we were doing our research and taking a look at your PDGA information, and we saw that in that first year you played one tournament when it was back in 2021, I think, or so if you got in 2020, you played a tournament in 2021, and then we saw that you played one tournament in 2022, and then last year you really kind of jumped up and you played 5 tournaments. So what kind of got you thinking more about tournaments and got you involved? Was did you just start to want to get a rating, or what was your thoughts?
I think so. 2021, I had just finished my first league. At the time, it was just Nor'Wester League. We played there every week.
Right.
So I just finished that, and it was the first tournament at Wildman. So I went out there, and I think I finished second in MA3.
Awesome.
And yeah, definitely caught the bug there. 2022 was probably just I couldn't find the time to travel outside of Edmonton, so there wasn't really much to go to otherwise. And then last year, yeah, just fortunately it worked out that with my wife's schedule, I could get out for a few weekends, even though it ended up that like Night Owl got moved into Edmonton, so I didn't have to travel for that one. And so,
Yeah.
And that's what got you there.
yeah,
When you say Wildman was your first tournament, well, that is a pretty crazy tournament to take on as your first one. You know, had you been at Rundle, it's a
Yeah.
course you're familiar with, or even Nor'Wester at that point. Not that there's any tournaments out there usually right now, but to go out to Wildman and to play that beast as your first one, and then to take second in MA3, that I think that would give me the bug for sure.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you and I got to run into each other a couple times. Edmonton Open, up in Fort McMurray when we played the tournament there as well. But the tournament I wanted to talk to you about because, you know, Darryl's had a tournament or two under his belt. I've had a few tournaments, but really we kind of float towards the bottom. I think Darryl, he would be remiss if I didn't mention that he did make lead card for one round in the tournament.
And that was only
Always
because
feels
there was
good.
nine players, and they decided they had to have a 5 on one of the cards, so they put the 5th player on the lead card, and that was me. So, but I'll take it. I can say that I was on lead card.
Yeah, a lead card's a lead card.
Yeah, there you go.
So the Night Owl that you mentioned, that was supposed to be down in Drayton Valley, but I believe it was the fires and the smoke that kind of had to change the venue. So rather than cancel,
Yeah, so the course itself was actually outside of the evacuation zone, but it was like right next to it, so they weren't going to risk it. And again, all the residents were gone either, so there like no services you could get while you were there and everything. So I think they made the right call. So
Yeah.
definitely. And then bringing that back to Rundle, that's a course that you're familiar with. So you went into that course in the MA2 division.
yeah,
And I was looking at the scores, and after round one, you were about 4 strokes back from the leader, which was Scott Brimacombe, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So after that, you go out into round 2, and you shoot a 936 rated second round, and you're tied for first. How was that? Tell us about how that felt.
Yeah, pretty good. That was my personal best at the time. I have since gone one further down at Rundle League. So,
Nice.
but yeah, I think Scott slipped up a bit that day. Let me peep through the door there, get my foot in there. Yeah, just I think really clean golf that day. Not too many OBs. Didn't find any water that I remember. So yeah, good day.
You avoided the water on 12 there. You were all good that
Yeah.
way.
No lost discs.
Nice. Now, when you're playing in a tournament like that, and so you're playing, are you looking at your score during the tournament, or did you have any idea where you were doing, or you just knew how well you were playing?
So I usually offer to take score, so
Okay.
I know where I'm at, and yeah, I'll check every 6 or so holes, kind of see what the rest of the field is doing. Again, I mean, I'm not really out there to be super competitive or anything, and I'm not much I guess on the course I'm not much of a thinker, I guess. I usually don't take a practice swing. I just walk up and do my thing. Same with putts, not really much of a routine there, so I don't have much opportunity to get in my head when I'm taking a throw.
Maybe that's some good advice, Jeremy. Don't think, because we always say that we overthink our throws and overthink our shots and things like that, right? We always say player 2 player's better because you just don't think you pick up the disc and you throw it, and player 2 is always better. So maybe there is something into that. Not thinking too much about your throw, just go out there, pick up the disc, and throw it. And yeah, good bit of advice, I think.
Yeah. So, but now, even though you say that, Brock, that's the first day. Those first 2 rounds are on one day, if I remember right.
No, it was 3 days, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember, to be honest. I think
So
it was
either-
around the long weekend, so it would have been 3.
Would have been 3 maybe.
Okay.
So you finished that. Oh, sorry. I see you've got your beverage there.
Yes, my
Cheers.
lovely
Yeah, we've
Brew
already.
Doctor kombucha.
Cheers.
So at the end of that second round, though, you went home and you go have supper and you do all of that, but you know you're going into round 3 in first place. Did you?
Yeah.
You're telling me you were just able to turn it off and watch some TV and not think about it, or how did that go?
I probably slept worse than I normally would that night, but for the most part, like, again, I was probably pretty tired at the end of the day anyways, so not much left in the tank.
Well,
For
what was
sure.
it like coming into the to start the round hole 1 on day 3 then? Did your mindset change? Like you realize that you were that close to the top of the leaderboard, and like did that play on your mind, or you were still just thinking, I'm just going to go out there, I'm just going to throw my game and not worry about what else happens?
Yeah, I don't think it really changed my mindset. Like, I had already, like, I played with Scott a lot. He's been in doubles league with us for 2 years and everything. So, at least from that perspective, like, we get along well. It was a good card to play on and everything. So, even if we are competing, there's no pressure on that card, I guess. Yeah, I haven't really been in that situation where, like, I'd say I feel the pressure and it's getting to me. Because, again, I'm just happy to be disc golfing.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, and Scott's such a laid back guy as well that, I could see that card. I know how laid back you are. It would be a frantic guy like me that would have to change your guys, the performance of the card, I think. But then by the end of it, unfortunately, we can't announce that you took the first place, but you did podium there, tying for second with one Gavin Beamish, who is probably one of the best juniors in our area right now, but plays up at MA2.
Yep.
Yeah. So sharing the podium with Gavin, that was probably all right. And maybe got a little trophy, did you? Or what did they give out at that tournament?
You got fun money.
Okay.
Gavin being 14, 15 years old or whatever. I gave him the second place money and I took the third place money and bought a Wildman membership. So
nice. Well, we had just saw some posts. Hey, I think almost was it today or yesterday, Darryl, about Gavin?
Yesterday, I believe. Yeah, just being sponsored by Yikun Discs.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Very
good
nice.
job for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
he's going to be one of those guys to watch for sure. So one day you're going to be going, yeah, I played against that guy. I had him for a round.
Yeah.
People say, who's the pro you met? Oh, I played with Gab. That's the whole thing is like when you go to a concert and you see an opening band that eventually becomes a headliner and you can say, oh, I saw them open for this band, right? Mm-hmm. It'd be the same thing. Oh, I played him before. I beat him in a round.
Yeah.
Nice. So with the this year coming up with 2024, do you have any tournaments that are on your wish list? Is there anything that you're specifically looking at playing in?
The only one I know of for sure is as long as I can get a spot, I will go to Nationals in Clearwater. That week is clear. My wife has it off. She's doing stuff with the dogs, so I've got, again, I can take 5 or 6 days if I need to get over there and practice and everything. So that's the big one. I haven't really looked through like my wife's schedule to see which weekends would align with any other tournaments. Since there's 2 in Athabasca this year, I'd really like to get up there because that's one I haven't had a chance to make it to in Alberta yet. So,
well, I had a chance. Go ahead, Darryl.
I was just going to say, it kind of sounds, those 2 courses or those 2 tournaments are on our schedule for this year. So whether we actually get out to them or not, I'm definitely going to be getting out to one of the ones at Athabasca. I believe that the Wally's 100th is out there and the Hidden Gem, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we're obviously going to try and get out to nationals as well.
And we're so committed to nationals at this point, Brock, that I've already got a hotel room, even though I haven't registered.
Nice. I looked up Airbnbs. There's not a lot, and you need quite a few people to make it economical. But
Yeah.
I mean, worst case worst, I have I can car camp in the Matrix. So
Well, that, or I'm sure if you sweet talk me and Mark, bring an air mattress, and I'm sure we got a spot on the floor in the hotel room. Keep you from having to sleep in the car. I don't know how your performance ends up when you spend a night in a car before you play around.
so in 2021, my buddy and I, who we started disc golfing the same day at Rundle, we did a trip down to Drumheller and across through Calgary and back up, and slept in my car every night. Then again, the Matrix folds flat from front to back.
Okay.
Lots of room for a mattress and everything. And I mean, I don't think I did bad, but it was also my first year of disc golf, and like went to play Wayne, which if you've ever been or seen pictures, it's a tonal course. There's like 70 feet of elevation drop in the middle of holes, like not even just up down, like straight across a 70-foot gap or dip kind of thing. So
Wow.
it's a pretty crazy course.
Yeah.
I've been to Wayne, but it wasn't for disc golf. It was long ago when I was reading Alberta ghost stories, and that saloon is apparently one of the haunted places in Alberta, and it's that cool drive of crossing all those one-lane bridges to get to Wayne. Yeah. So I guess then you might be prepared for Clearwater, because from what I understand, one of the courses is on the ski hill, and there's a lot of elevation going up and down and across that. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to do a lot of hikes out at Science Park to get ready.
Yes. Yeah. As soon as that's open and ready to go, that'll be a good one. That's what Tim was mentioning, that there's going to be some fair amount of elevated holes or different changes in elevation at that course.
Yeah.
While we're talking about it, Tim didn't have too much information on it. He said it was kind of Joey's project that he was working on. Do you have any more insights? Anything moving further along with the project?
Not that I've heard. I've seen like a satellite layout, but I've never actually been to the site, so I don't really know what that looks like. Yeah, until the snow starts melting, we're kind of sitting on our hands.
Pretty much waiting. I think the baskets are purchased. They're ready to go as soon as the ground thaws. Get the baskets in the ground, and
Exactly.
we're excited to play it.
It'll be interesting too, as I'm sure on the Sunridge side, they will take care of the property and do their mowing and do that side of it. But I'm interested to see how much the province comes to the table, because I know it was a bit to get the city to do it, but for the province to take care of their side.
Yeah, I think Sunridge has some part in that.
Okay.
In some part of taking care of Science Park as well, but I'm not 100% on that arrangement. So.
Okay.
Oh, we're excited for it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, another thing here in this beginning talking part here, Brock, that I wanted to talk about was early on in the podcast. Darryl and I had a segment where we were talking about Zuka carts, and I kind of quizzed him because Zuka makes carts for everything from figure skating to, what do we have in there? Cornhole.
Pickleball.
What else? Pickleball and cornhole,
cornhole,
which we were surprised. The disc golf one makes sense. The figure skating one makes sense. We just didn't understand that you could have that many bean bags for cornhole that you needed a cart to carry them around in.
Yeah.
But with that, we see you rocking a transit cart out there, and we need you to tell us, should we switch? Should we change? Are we on the right path? Because we've been talking about, hiking around with Tasquin with our bags on our back for the tournament there, and by the end of the second day, we don't even want to walk back to the car. We're so tired. So is a cart going to help us? Is it going to save us, or do we just need to do more cardio? What is it?
I would say go kart. I love it. Again, you've got your 20, 25 discs. Throw a putter pouch on there. That's another 4 to 8 if you want. If you're really crazy, like Infinite Discs makes an XXL putter pouch, and I think you can put 20 discs just in the pouch that's hanging off the front. But no, again, like I've got Mike Carey made me some 3D printed parts to slide over the back there. So I've got a retriever holder and an umbrella holder. And then I actually bought a fishing rod holder that I've got attached to the handle to prop the umbrella up on top.
Okay.
And then, yeah, that section under the Transit, again, full-size beach towel I bring with me normally. My jacket goes down there. A lunch kit if I'm in a tournament kind of thing. So
He's making a good case, Jeremy.
yeah.
He certainly is. And I'll tell you, when he was up in Fort McMurray there as well, as we're all standing around in this kind of dirt parking lot area that they've got just waiting for things to start, Brock's sitting comfortable on the top of the Zuka cart, just has a nice little bench, and everyone else is sitting in the dirt.
That was going to be my question. Do you have the padded seat on it as well?
I do.
Yeah.
I've never put it on.
Oh, really?
I've like, again, I ordered it as a birthday present in like February for myself.
Yeah.
And then when I pulled it out in April to start golfing, I just never put it on. And I think I know where the cover is, but it just never comes top of mind to go grab it and throw it on when. But I've just got like the thin quilted one. Like you look at like Ricky's cart and he's got like 2 inches of foam on top. I don't have that one.
Well, and you also have that beach towel that you've got packed underneath. So if you really needed something to sit on, I'm sure you could use that too, right? Yeah. Well, what do you think, Darryl? Are we sold? Are we going to start saving our pennies and dollars and cents here to get one?
I don't know. We're getting up there in age. I know we speak to our buddy Mark, and he said that's the last thing he's going to buy for disc golf is a cart. But yeah, no, I'm with you. You know, after if you go and play 2 rounds in one day, the last thing you want to do is pick up your bag and carry on walking with that, right? So having that freedom just to push it and sit down whenever you need a break in the round, yeah. I mean, I think I want one. I just depends what else I want to spend money on or whether I can justify getting it.
Yeah,
you're doing a good job of selling it to me.
It's a price tag for sure.
Yeah.
All right, one last question on the.
I was just going to say it's funny though you mentioned Mike Carey making those things for you. It's the second time he's been mentioned in this podcast of making things, or together with creative things that you can stick on your disc golf bag and things like that. You're going to show him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd made these or had them made. I'm not sure if he made them or he has some. I think he has a friend who makes them.
Yeah.
And at first we weren't sure what they were, but they're really neat once he explained what they do.
Yeah, I've got 2 sets of them upstairs.
Oh,
nice. Do you have an affectionate name for them? Because we just call them birdie bogey counters.
I think they're normally called birdie beads. For the
okay, we weren't that far off. Yeah, the birdie beads.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
Well, I had one last question about the Zuka cart. So we also like to play courses like Wildman, and we like to play Bailey's. So what happens if you remember on Bailey's, I want to say it's getting towards hole 12 maybe, when you go up that hill that's so steep that's got the rope on the side of it? What do you do in those cases? Do you just pick that thing up, or you drag it up, or what happens then? Or do you not bring it on those courses?
Bailey's is the one course I haven't brought it out to. That being said, I've played with people who brought their carts out. So if I can play Edmonton Open or head out to Bailey's sometime this year, I will bring my cart.
All right. That's
Just
it.
tough it up. Hope it's not a rainy day.
Yes.
Throw all my discs up the hill and then carry it up. I don't know.
Or get a couple. Maybe that's the next thing to get made for them, is a couple straps. So in those very unique situations, you can strap it onto your back and climb up that little section and then put it back down.
I'm wondering if you have the backpack cart. Can you fish the backpack straps through somehow?
Okay. Like Big Germ, like that backpack cart you're talking about?
Zuka makes a backpack cart model where it's just wide and tall enough to fit your backpack in, and then the seat still comes over top.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So
Right.
maybe if you could turn your backpack backwards or something,
Something
like
like
that,
that,
you
yeah.
could strap it on.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody out there has figured out a solution somehow.
Exactly. All right, Brock. Well, that's all our nice, soft, warm, and fuzzy stuff. Now we want to get right into the important things, the really professional, top of the line corporate type stuff here. So let's talk about Brock, the Edmonton Disc Golf Association board member.
Okay.
So when did you become a board member? Because we know that you're the vice president now, but that is a new thing that's happened since the last AGM. But when did you start with the board, and how did you get into it?
So I started in 2021 as the member at large communications, I think is the technical title. So just handling most of the social media, and my project for that was getting the newsletter kind of formalized and set up and everything. So on the back end, we've got our mailing lists and all that kind of thing to kind of help make it a bit easier than just copying and pasting everyone's email into our Gmail or whatever. So
Yeah.
started out that way. Before COVID, I had been doing some volunteering with the NATE Alumni Association, helping them run events like speaker series and stuff. That ended during COVID, obviously. So I was just looking for some volunteer work to do, and I was a member of EDGA, and they needed board members, so I put my name forward. And I think I just put my name forward for every position that was available that year, and communications was the first one that got voted for. So
Awesome. So, and
Nice.
that's great that you were able to take your skill set that you already had and bring that to EDGA. Because I do find that the communications, because I've only been a member since 2022, I would say. Yeah, it was kind of mid 2022. And everything I see that comes out of EDGA seems professional and really good. So I'm sure that your work there in the beginning helped form that.
thanks.
So, but you changed your role the next year, did you, after that? Or were you still communication?
No, so one of our board members was moving out to the coast, so she vacated her position, and programming is more where my interests lie. So I shifted, so I ran for that position, which started another 2-year term, and then Vicky Young took over communications, and she's doing a much better job than I can. She's great with the graphics and everything, so I think it worked out well. And then kind of the same thing this year. Travis Bouchard wasn't running again for VP, so I kind of just threw my name in the hat. I'm pretty comfortable after 2 years with kind of everything the club was doing. So yeah, another 2-year term starts after that. So
You don't even let the 2-year term end, and then
Not
you
yet.
start the next one. So does that
Yeah.
mean you've stacked? You got like 6 years you have to take care of now, or what?
I think it would only be till 2025 or
Yeah.
2026. I don't even know right now, but I don't have any plans on stopping right now. I'm having fun.
So
Good.
when it comes to being reelected, is that something that you can put yourself forward again and you can be reelected into the position, or do you have to move roles?
No, I could put my name forward for any position I want to, and like I guess like if I didn't want to stay VP but still wanted to be a board member, I could do that as well. Just kind of
Right.
keep my name
Okay.
off the ballot for VP, but still go for a member or board member position.
Yeah. Okay.
And as
Yeah.
VP, what roles and responsibilities? Because I think the other one's communication. You can kind of figure out just by the title and even program coordinating, those types of the job is in the title. But vice president could incorporate so many different things. What is the role with the Edmonton Disc Golf Association for a vice president? What are you responsible for?
So I guess first and foremost is really just Tim's backup. So if he's unable to make a meeting or something like that, it kind of falls to me to run the show while he's gone. and really outside of that, Travis did a lot of the managing the website from a technical perspective. So I've taken that on, and I guess my mini project for the year is we are hoping that this is the last year that people sign up on a Google form. We're pushing, like we didn't want to, knee jerk 1 month after a whole new board starts try to push in a new registration form. But we get a lot of feedback, and it is a lot of work on our volunteers to manage the form and track e-transfers and all that. So we're doing our due diligence, researching our options, all of that, and then hopefully by winter programming next year, so Winter League, Putting League, training camps, we'll have something to test out where you can just register online, put in your credit card, and we're good to go.
That'll be great.
Yeah,
and then
nice.
at that point, you'll end up having your like you said, it'll take a lot of that administration out of the way, so you're not trying to track payments. Payments are coming in, they're attached to the person, they're right into the bank account. So yeah, no, that'll be good. So it sounds like even when we talked to Tim, Darryl, he kind of mentioned, Joey has his project of the Science Sunridge. It sounds like you've got a project working on streamlining the payment methods and that type of thing. Is that kind of how it's been working? Is it everybody kind of figures out something that they want to target, or that you guys discuss that, hey, this is something the club wants to target this year, and who's going to take it on? Is that how you approach it?
Yeah, so kind of right after the board meetings, we usually we have a little transition session for outgoing and oncoming members, just to kind of talk about what is going on with the club and what people might have to pick up fairly quickly. But then between Tim and myself, I think we've sat down with most of the other board members and talked about, again, where their interests lie, why they joined and what they want to accomplish while they're here. And it's our job to help make that happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know Tim had mentioned about taking on too many projects at once and not committing to changing too many things and changing too many things at once. And yeah, that's good to hear that you're echoing what he said, sort of thing. Let's take on one project and make sure you do that one project correctly and get it done right, rather than spreading yourself too thin to take on too many projects and change too many things too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, what do you find too? Like I've been part of some councils and that in my past, but what is the time commitment that it takes to be on the board? How many hours a month do you think it is being part of EDGA?
So don't take me as an example. I'm one of those people who does too much. Again, it's person by person basis that we kind of talk to them and say, what's your availability? What are you trying to do outside of attending board meetings and being active on our messenger? Not really like a firm time requirement at all. This year, again, we were blessed to have more people than positions available who wanted to help out. So I'm really excited to see that. But again, anybody who wants to be involved as a board member, we're going to do everything we can to accommodate them, recognizing that they're willing to step up and make the commitment.
Oh, that's good to know, because I know it's weighing on your mind, Darryl, right? You're already thinking about it for next year, are you?
Well, we had our buddy Mark put himself up for a position this year as well. I was just going to ask, so are all positions 2 years? Is that the commitment that you're asking for? Yeah.
Yeah, so just before I started, they were all 1 year. And then they made a change to the bylaws, which I think is really good, to 2-year terms, and half of the board is elected every year. So
okay, yeah,
you're not losing the entire board and all the history and stuff. So
yeah, that was going to be my question, because obviously this year we didn't re-elect a new president and a few other positions that we didn't re-elect. So yeah, I was wondering if there was certain situations where people stayed on for 3 years or 1 year, or could try and get that offset. But yeah, you kind of answered that by saying that they're offset on purpose.
Yep.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And is there anything stopping someone from rerunning after their 2-year term is up? Is there a certain amount of terms they can be part of? Like, say, could Tim do president again, or could you do vice president again if it came up and no one else was interested?
Yeah, I don't think there's any terms. I mean, Joey's been on the board as long as I've been a member. And yeah, again, it's nice to have a mix of, because yeah, like Tim, Vicky, Joey, and I have been on for at least 3 years now, and
Right.
then Allie's been on the board off and on for 20 odd years, kind of thing. So that's great to have, again, that mix of the fresh blood coming in. Again, like Stefan, I think he started disc golfing last year and
Oh,
came
wow.
out and so helpful during the Hermitage construction, and yeah, jumped in. So
Yeah.
and Matt's been here, like only living in Edmonton less than a year. Spent lots of time disc golfing in the States where he came from.
Right.
So that's lots of great experience too. And Mike was past president of the Kinsman Club in St. Albert, I think. So he's got lots of experience there. So, and Graham came from UPA. So
Okay.
really, really great mix of experience now. And I'm excited for the next couple of years.
I know Tim had mentioned on a previous episode where how fast and how big EDGA has grown from being like 50 or 70 members to 150 to over 400 now. Has the board grown with that, or do you ever see any need that you may require other positions, or is the board kind of set? It can handle what the growth of the club is right now.
Yeah, I think when they made the change to the 2-year terms, they did increase the number of positions at the time. So right now, I think we're at a comfortable size. I know some of the other clubs in Alberta are getting close to like having part-timers help them with stuff.
Yeah.
So we're not there yet, but it's getting close. There's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why you're mentioning other boards in Alberta? Do you have a lot of communication with other boards? Like, do you have a WhatsApp group? Do you ask everybody how everybody's doing?
So I am also the Edmonton zone rep for the Disc Golf Association of Alberta. So that's a separate board that meets once a month kind of thing, and you'll see more about that coming out this year for sure, because they're doing their first kind of membership drive. So talked about it a bit at the AGM. They're trying to become the provincial sport organization for disc golf in Alberta, and that opens them up to some extra funding opportunities that they can then share down to the member clubs, as well as possibly putting disc golf in like the Alberta Summer Games and stuff like that. So, and lots of other provinces have gone this model before. We're just a little behind, so we're trying to catch up. So at least for EDGA members, $1 from every EDGA membership this year will go to DGAA, and every EDGA member will also be a DGAA member unless they decide to opt out.
Okay.
So yeah, and then looking at BC, like the BC Association provides insurance for all of the clubs in BC, and they got they're able to get like $10,000 to help brush up a course for a tournament and stuff like that. So that's what we're really pushing for.
That's
Well,
awesome.
that probably helps with those opportunities when you're putting a bid in for nationals, and maybe the course that actually does get awarded it, when they need to get some money to dress it up a little or move a tee pad or something like that to prepare, then there is that pool available. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and like if you put together like Edmonton, Calgary, Grand Prairie, Fort McMurray, Central Alberta, all those clubs across the province, I think we're pushing 1,500 members in there, and it's a pretty good group to say and go to these sponsors and funders to say, yeah, we've got a lot of people who play this sport.
Yeah.
Let's get your eyes. Let's get your company eyes in front of these people.
Yes. Well, Darryl, we mentioned that when we were talking to Tim, was the power of numbers and the fact that the Edmonton Disc Golf Association has 400 members. And Tim was saying, just rough estimate in his mind that might be 10% or 20% of the amount of players in Edmonton. So we might as well say it again. Yeah. That's a call out to, if you happen to be listening to this podcast and you're not an Edmonton Disc Golf Association member, sign up this year. It's $20. Hopefully you can come up with that, and it's going to go to a good cause, and it's going to support and going to give you access to a lot of events. And Darryl and I have said it a number of times, just the ability to sign that waiver and play at NISCA, that alone is worth the membership in my mind because of how wonderful that course is to play.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I just interject here for a second, Jeremy?
You may.
Because currently, as we record this, it's Wednesday, January 25th. And if you watched our previous episode, we got the date wrong.
It was January 25th.
We said it. Yeah, the one that comes out yesterday. But yeah, if you haven't, this will obviously be a week away, but Tundra Toss 3 the registration is open. And I'm checking live on Disc Golf Scene right now. And as I notice, in the MA40 division, I see a 1... Jeremy Power is already registered.
Yes. How did I do that? It's magic, right? I'm sitting here doing a podcast and I'm registered for it. I'd like to say it was all me, but I'm going to have to put the props out and the thanks to Mr. Mark Thompson, friend of the show. He registered me and himself. So how are we looking, I guess, at the moment? Just 15 minutes in, how many people are registered?
15 minutes in. I always like to quiz you. How many people do you think is registered so far?
Brock, you go ahead. You get the first guess.
15 minutes in.
30.
Okay, Jeremy?
Okay, well, we know there's a total of 76. Is this closest to without going over? Do I go with the 31? No, I'm not that kind of guy.
No.
I'm going to say there are 42.
Oh, no. Unfortunately, your estimates are slightly high. So I just registered, and that makes 16.
16.
Still plenty of room for people to sign up. It does seem like the people that are registering are the old people, because there's 6 people registered in MA40 already.
Nice.
We've got 2 in MPO, 1 in FPO, 1 in MA1, 6 in MA40, 2 in MA2, and 4 in MA4. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's good to see that people are, people must have been waiting at the 8 o'clock deadline with their finger hovering over the button ready to register. So that's good to see.
Well, and the thing, Darryl, with the way we... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Brock. I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say, I think with the winter tournaments, people want to see how the winter plays out and what the conditions are going to be. But sold out last year, and I'm confident it'll sell out this year too.
Yeah, and we are sorry to everyone. By the time this one airs, and you're listening to this podcast, it may already be full at that point, right?
We tried to give you a heads up. We tried to get you there a day early.
Yes, we did. Well, and I'm going to say, Darryl, is that at this point here, we're averaging about one person every minute and a half. So, yeah, it's going to fill up pretty quick if it continues on that pace.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you're not already, we'll put it out again on our Instagram and check EDGA, because they're always promoting it and things like that. So it's out there.
Definitely. Well, that's a good transition, too, for us, Brock, to kind of talk about some... I know you're out of the programming role, but I'm sure you were still handing that off and had a role in some of these winter events that we've got going on. So I wanted to just touch base again on the winter programming and see it from your side. I've been participating in Putting League. I've got to see every week. How are your feelings about Putting League this year? Are you happy with the location? Are you happy with the amount of people signed up? What are your thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, I'm super happy with how it turned out. I think getting the venue makes a big difference. I wasn't in the school gym, but I heard the ambiance wasn't exactly the best. And you always see the videos from like places like Carolina where they've got the breweries that step up and offer up the space. And we tried, reached out to a bunch of different breweries, couldn't find the space because you need a lot more space than you think when you get in there and set up. But I had been to Cattail a bunch, even just to go eat at the restaurant because it's very good. And I knew they had the banquet space that would be big enough. So I just emailed them one day, showed up, and yeah, I mean, huge shout out to them. They're giving us a little bit of a break on the rate because Wednesday night in the middle of January and February isn't the most bumping night for them. And I think they're really happy with all the food and drink we're buying. So win-win for everyone.
Well, that's true. As I had a chance to see, we saw Brandy this week, and you and I have been going early usually and having our supper there at the restaurant. And I think Brandy had she did. Sorry, when I talked to her, she mentioned that she wasn't sure if we were just going to show up and just putt and maybe buy a Coke or have a glass of water. But I think she's been pretty impressed with the way that the club has been supporting the restaurant as well as the bar, I think, too.
Yeah. And I do have to say, I apologize for it being on the north side. I tried to find places on the south side.
That's okay. I'll hold you to we can get somewhere. Hopefully we can try and find somewhere next year.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, what I'd love to see is if we got to the size where we could just have a north side and a south side on the same night.
Wow. That'd be good.
And just kind of, satellites. Again, everyone's scoring the same. You might putt on different baskets, but if that's the difference between winning and losing, you probably just didn't putt well enough.
I appreciate your
fair take.
I appreciate your recognition of the south side, Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, thank you, Brock, because I'm sure after you got off the air, I would have had to hear about it again. Southsiders don't get any love, blah, blah, blah.
It's nice to hear someone appreciate and recognize that, the south side needs some loving as well. I'm not going to name any names, Kristen, but she... south side people have feelings too.
That's right. And they can be sad or always are sad about it. But nice. And also too, so the other thing that's coming up right away will have started by the time people hear this episode, but for us it's coming up tomorrow night is the first night of the winter clinics and the throw as well. So tell us, has that gotten some good sign up as well?
Yeah, we're sitting, I think for the camp that starts now, we're sitting at 20-ish people for the training portion, and then we've got another 5 or 6 registered for all of the free throws.
Okay.
But if anybody's not able to commit to the whole time, we do have $15 drop-ins for that last hour. So if you haven't been to one of the training camps before, for that first 90 minutes now, it was an hour last year, we heard some concerns that it's not enough time to get through everyone, like to have a few minutes with Gabe. So
positive feedback.
Yeah. So Foot offered us an extra half hour. I guess one of their other bookings dropped out, so we snapped that up. So yeah, that first 90 minutes, we've got a quarter of the field, which is still 230 feet across to throw from. And that's focusing on skill development with our coach, Gabe. This is his 3rd year coming out to help us. So really great coach, awesome player, and really studies the game, loves to talk about form and different forms and all that. So first 2 weeks are backhand form, starting with the upper body, then working to the lower body. Week 3 is going to be forehands. And then that last week we'll kind of see where the feelings are, what people want to keep working on, and fill that 4th week. And then starting at 10 o'clock, We push all the nets to the side. We've got the entire field, which is about 450 feet from edge to edge. And we just spend that hour chucking discs from end zone to end zone kind of thing. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well,
and
I
it's
got
15 degrees and no wind.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going to
Good
go,
footing.
Brock.
Yeah.
I got to participate in it last year, and I'm going to be part of it again this year. And that's what I was thinking. Was I just was out at Rundle for Winter League this past weekend, and we had gotten some snow, so ribbons had to go on the discs, and we spent some time. Most of the discs we found pretty quickly, but there was one lost disc, and it takes some time. But when you're inside and it's 15 degrees and you're wearing a light EDGA hoodie, well, a nice warm EDGA hoodie, as we've talked about, Darryl,
Or a
and
nice T-shirt.
yes, that too. When you're doing that, it just makes it so much more fun to throw. Your discs also feel like they're not being as affected by the cold, and they seem to be flying the way they're naturally supposed to.
Yeah.
And you're getting that consistency so you can see your improvement. So I remember last year I was throwing just past the center midfield line, right? Kind of into the 55 on the other side. And now I'll have a measuring mark to see how I do from last year to this year, how my improvement's been. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. And Gabe, amazing instructor, amazing person, nicest guy. It'll be great to have that extra time with him with that extra half hour.
Yeah, and then kind of something we're running a second one throughout March, same kind of format, but kind of in between there, we're having a smaller group session. So that one's going to be capped out at 12 people. And so that'll give each person a little bit more time with Gabe to work on something specifically. Like Gabe's not coming into those nights with a game plan. He's going to talk to each person, spend some time with them, give them some tips, and then they can come to the free throws for those 4 weeks where the normal camp is coming. And then the last day of camp, I think March 29th or something, those small group camp people come back, have another session with Gabe, kind of chart their process, talk about what worked, what didn't, and they can get some more tips and work on it again. So we thought that's a nice little nod to people who don't really need the general training anymore, but there are those small little things that they want to see and have the environment to actually see the difference. Because again, if you're throwing in a net in your garage, it can feel great, and you get on the course and it's terrible. So,
yep, I know that one. So that's good. And then so there's still space to sign up for all of the clinics, is there? Even if you wanted to join this one that's starting up on Friday, you could still join. You're gonna 20 isn't the cap on it?
No. We cap out at about 30, and then even after that, if you want to come in for the training portion, just send me an email at vp@edga.ca and we'll work something out prorated, because I don't want you to spend $100 if you're only going to come for a night or two. But
fair enough.
Right.
And the one last one we should talk about while we're at it is there's the women's one as well, correct? And that one's a little bit different because I think there's some support behind that one.
Yeah. So last year we applied for a grant with Women in Motion. So they support women's sports initiatives. So to kind of fold to that. So any women who want to sign up for the main training camp can get $20 off their registration. So it's only $80 for the 4 weeks, or for the small group camp. And then we have 2 Saturday nights, I think one is 6 to 8 and the other's 6 to 7:30 or something around there. So better time, because on Saturday nights is a little less busy. But those ones are free for women. And then I think Kristen mentioned it. So I've reached out to kind of the female professional contingent here in Edmonton about who wants to come out and offer some coaching on that. And yeah, they're all super interested. So it's actually on my agenda after this first week of main training camp to set up a meeting with all of them and kind of talk about how we're going to approach those nights. But I think that's March 2nd and 9th, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Confirm that.
Now,
Yeah.
now, are you able to tell us at this point who's committed to doing any instructing, or is that still kind of on the down low for the FPOs that will be present?
So after you mentioned it on Chained Out with Kristen, and she said she would email, she emailed me. So I'm pretty sure she's confirmed. The other ones, they were all interested at the time. I emailed them in like November, so I wasn't going to get them to commit 4 months in advance. But
That's awesome.
So then that takes care of what's going on for winter. But the next thing that's happening is with this warm weather that we're getting this week, and it's feeling like it's going to be a +5 high on Saturday.
Beautiful.
Like it's going to be beautiful. So that's making me start to think about regular league season and how that's coming up soon. So now let me know if you can, or let us know and the listeners, when we get to Tundra Toss and it's welcome day, is that going to be the same time that we're going to start seeing? I think last year kind of the leagues released one day at a time, or every couple days they were opening up for us to sign up for. Do you have a plan for it this year?
we haven't gone over the formal plan yet, but that is definitely the plan. So we're hoping registration opens the Monday before Tundra Toss. And on that registration, you'll be able to sign up for all of your summer leagues as well.
Are there going to be any?
We kind of like that calendar rollout once a day kind of thing. So
That's awesome. Are there going to be any new leagues that weren't on last year?
nothing I can confirm, but there are discussions ongoing. So
Ooh,
Okay.
stay tuned.
We almost got an exclusive there, Jeremy. But yeah, that's interesting to hear. Yeah, I wasn't part of any leagues last year. That was my first year, and foolishly, I thought my first year starting, I'm not good enough to be in any of the leagues. I don't want to embarrass myself. But then halfway through the year, I regret not signing up for those leagues and realizing that they can be as competitive as you want or not competitive as you want. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be signing up for at least one of the leagues, possibly two of the leagues this year.
yeah, and I think when you look at the cash leagues, and the Nor'Wester League that I started in was cash only kind of thing, no prizes. The tiering system, if you're a beginner who kind of commits to getting better, you're gonna win some money. Because of the way. So for people who don't know, the leagues are somewhere between 22 and 24 weeks. The first 10 rounds that you score in our singles leagues, that puts you in a tier, and there's usually 5 tiers. And then you're competing against other people in that tier. So
Right.
beginners usually start in tier 5, but because you're getting better, you will your scores will improve a lot and your average will go down. And I'm going to cough here, so just give me a second.
No problem.
No worries.
So yeah, my first year at Nor'Wester League, my worst round was plus 18. My best round was 0.
Wow.
So just that improvement from playing with people better than you, seeing how what lines they're taking, all that, huge difference.
Yeah.
So with that being said, then is with your because when I started out in the Nor'Wester League because that was became a recreational league where there was prizes and it was play around, get your name in for a draw, not as competitive. And I know the Hills League has kind of been more of a recreational type one as well, has it?
They've got a pro and a am side, or
Okay.
a rec side. That one, I guess the unique part about that one is it's an anytime league. So anytime on Wednesdays, you just show up, score your round in UDisc, and you're in.
Yeah. And then beyond that, you've got the Rundle League that's been around forever. You've got the Doubles League. We've got women's leagues. Am I missing any ones that are out there? I think you can play every night of the week if you wanted to, can't you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, doubles league is the best because I run it. So, just saying.
That's fair.
Youth league on Fridays. We're definitely hoping to bring that back and get that spun up. Yeah, and I think you've got every night there.
You mentioned your first 10 rounds. Then you go into your... What happens if you don't play... Let's say you miss 2 weeks out of that first 10 and you only get 8 scored rounds. Is it your first 10 rounds no matter what? Or out of that first 10...
it's your first 10 rounds no matter what. So,
okay.
Like, if you start... Like, you don't even sign up for the league for the first 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's still... So your score from week 6 to 15 or whatever, that puts you in a tier. And, yeah, so there's... The only requisite to get a payout in those leagues is you have to have played at least 10 times.
Right.
It's only an advantage if you can play more and knock off more scores and all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So you're not committed to your first 10 weeks that you have to sign up. You have to be there present for those first 10 weeks. Any of the first 10 rounds, whenever you start, then will put you in your own individual tier.
Yep.
Now, earlier, Darryl, you had said we almost got an exclusive, but Brock did talk to us ahead of time here, and we do have an exclusive for the show today.
We do. Yeah.
Now, I don't know, do you want to announce that, Brock, and kind of lead us in? And Darryl's got something he wants to bring up to show everybody?
Yeah, sure. So at registration day for Tundra Toss, welcome day, everyone comes down, picks up their... or signs up their waivers. You can pay cash for your membership, and then you're also picking up your bag tags. So this year, Innova is sponsoring our bag tags. Wow. So we've worked with them to come up with a design. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than the metal tags we've had in the past, and we're happy to have that kind of little bit more visibility on the course, so members can easily identify other members, because I know my bag tag right now is just on my keychain in my pocket. Nobody can see it, kind of thing. So then there's that visibility. Again, members can kind of easily identify maybe non-members who don't have it on their bag, and kind of go inquire and do some of that ground level marketing that works so well.
Yes.
And then on the flip side, we're going to have that QR code on the back that will link to kind of a special page. We'll just throw some important, helpful links that good things to share with maybe new players who you run into the course and you want to share something with them. Links to our sponsor websites or member discounts, and maybe like highlighting the next EDGA event we're running or something like that. So just kind of like a quick one-stop shop where some people can scan their phone and get some updated info.
Great. Well, and another thing about the tags that we do in the leagues and that is that even if you're not competing in a cash league, there's kind of amongst the different groups. If you're in a group of 4, you'll talk about it ahead of time and say, are we playing for tags tonight, guys or ladies? And if everyone agrees, then what you'll do is try to work your way up in your number. So maybe you randomly drew tag number 207, and then you play some people and you get tag 200 even, and you slowly work your way up, and then you start chasing tags around the city trying to find out how you can get a little higher up in the rankings. So that's always a fun, light competition that you can add to your playing throughout the summer, spring, summer, fall.
Yeah, and we will follow the same process as we did last year, where asking people if they are serious about their tags. So we'll kind of take the top 100, put them off to the side. If someone's serious about competing for the tags, we'll give them somewhere in the 1 to 100s. If someone's just happy to be a member, they can be number 207 kind of thing.
So a person that's not playing competitively doesn't end up picking number 1.
Exactly. And I think so last year what Travis did is we gave him tag number 1, and then he auctioned off 4 spots on a card to compete with him for tag number 1, kind of right after
Nice.
or like
Yeah.
the week leagues started or something like that. So I think it'd be fun to do that, but I'm not nearly as good as Travis, so if I step up, it's going to be easy pickings for some people.
That's awesome.
So we've had this conversation before, and I had the bag tag. I didn't know exactly how that kind of works. So do you want to explain to people that are not familiar with how you play for bag tags, like how you challenge somebody, or whether it was just kind of a, you know, it's kind of like an unwritten rule that if you're playing, from what I understand, if you're playing with somebody, if you beat them, you can switch bag tags, but it has to be declared. You know, what is the etiquette when it comes to playing for bag tags?
Yeah,
The
so
unwritten rules.
yeah, so on the first tee box, you're supposed to ask everyone, "Are we playing for tags?" In a league round,
Yeah.
it would be frowned upon to say no, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
That's kind of we want you to be playing for tags. That's kind of the reason they're all individually numbered and all that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, a fun little competition. Again, you have a group of 4 guys who are members, and even just between the 4 of you, you're playing for tags. And then you play a round. Top score of that round gets the lowest tag number. If 2 people tie, the person who started with the higher tag number or the lower tag number keeps the lower tag number, and you kind of trickle down that way.
Well, I know last year at Nor'wester, at one point we had a tie, and then we decided the 2 of us would do a playoff, and that's about the closest I felt to like true tournament competition. Jeremy's in a playoff hole for a
That
tag.
works too. More disc golf's never a problem.
Yeah. You know what would be really nice, Brock, and I think so too, Darryl, would be if there was a way we could have it on the website. It'd be a lot of work because it'd be voluntary, but to say, oh yeah, I want a tag this week. Jeremy's sitting with number 72, and it's somebody else's like, oh, I want to take that tag. I got to go find Jeremy type thing. That would be nice, but it would be hard to track them that way. But
there was a time when they did that, and I believe it was so. If Jeremy, if you're number 1,
yep,
and I was number 20,
That's the last time you're going to hear that, Jeremy.
I would have to put $19 on the table to challenge you.
really?
Wow.
Yeah, you put $1 per I guess rank difference.
Yeah.
And if I didn't win, you got the $19.
Oh wow, those are high stakes back then.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad it's not like that now. I think what would happen? Do I have to if I went down the other way? I guess
I think there's a little bit too many members now to
do
Yeah.
that.
Maybe we can put something on our Instagram. You know, if you want to send if people are interested in keeping a track of their own tag number, if they're, you know, want to, what's the word? Like flaunt, for a better word, like promote that they've got a higher or lower bag tag number. You know, send us a picture of your bag tag, and we'll put it out on our Instagram, and then people will know where to come find you if you're looking to play for it.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great use of our new Discord channel as well.
Yes.
Start like a bag tag challenges or something and throw them out there.
Yeah, looking to go up. I'm sitting with 20. Who can I play? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, one of the other ones that I really wanted to talk about too, Brock, was last year you took on a project that was a great community involvement one, where you put together the Alberta Hospital fundraiser tournament. So that I got to attend. It was an amazing event. How did it come about, and was it your first one that you've ever TD'd?
Yeah, so last year was the centennial anniversary of the hospital and the 1-year anniversary of us setting up the course. So we felt it just made sense to run a tournament out there. members only, just because of the waiver requirements. And yeah, a awesome day, fantastic weather, great group of people. The hospital staff and patients that volunteered for us were awesome. Yeah, cooked lunch for us. That was so great. It was my first tournament as a TD. I had been the chair of a charity golf tournament I chaired the tournament 1 year, but I had been on the organizing committee for 10 years. So not my first tournament organization, I guess.
Right.
But still learned a lot. Learned what it takes to, get a commercial order of discs over the border in time and all that. So yeah.
Yes, and that you did is you got those discs, and we had a special Alberta Hospital Centennial stamp on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I got one that I had gotten at the tournament, and I got another one I think I got through League, and that's just still by far one of the nicest stamps with the geese on there, and also the Cree writing as well. So
yeah, well, thanks. I designed it.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah.
Talking about designing things, I know one thing that Jeremy keeps bringing up to me in every tournament that we go into is that he always brings it back to the caddy book.
Mm-hmm.
And he always says that that's kind of like the benchmark now of all caddy books, because he sent it to me, he showed it to me, and I've got to give you, I mean, I assumed you designed it as well, but that's right up there with one of the best caddy books I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Again, probably bit off more than I could chew with that one. Definitely took longer than it thought. But doing the kind of 16-bit graphic whole layouts was a lot of fun. Again, I learned a new little program called Tiled, which does kind of those sprite graphics a little quicker for you. So as much as I want to add some new holes to the layout when we run it back this year, I'm going to weigh that against the time it takes to make those little maps. For sure.
Right, and they were perfect. I looked through them, and even just looking at the like you said, the 16-bit graphics, you can identify every hole. It was perfect.
Yeah.
The trees were perfectly placed and everything. Like, where did that idea come by to do a 16-bit graphic caddy book?
I had seen other courses do it on like their actual T signs.
Okay.
So and what I actually did is I took a screenshot from Google Maps and overlaid it as I was drawing everything over top. So that made it a lot easier. So
yeah, we especially liked hole 7, like the with the tree gaps right off the tee there. You even got those right as well. It was awesome.
Yeah. And that was a highlight for us. The other one too is hole 3, because you were adding water, because that was a makeshift island on circle 1, and then you filled all that area in with water.
Yeah. So spoiler for this year, I'm gonna make that one just a bunker rule.
Okay.
So there's no penalty stroke if you miss the island.
Marco like that.
Yeah, you do go back to the tee, but no stroke penalty.
So you'll still be firing shot after shot at the tee. You've got to make the island.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I know that was that took a lot of people out. Did you get, when you got the feedback, was that the biggest thing you heard about, or what?
Pretty much, yeah. That was the one that people didn't like. Again, you signed up for the competitive layout, so you know what you're getting into.
As we've talked about before, Jeremy, that hole had an interesting story.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brock, maybe there were some people on the competitive side who didn't like it, but I know there was one volunteer who did like it. Do you want to tell everybody about that?
Yeah, so during lunch, Tim pulled some of the volunteers and a few of the members over, and they just started ace running the basket, and the only person to get an ace was one of the volunteers. So that was awesome. And yeah, he's one of the frequent flyers out there. He's playing that course all the time. Even before we set up the full course, we just had holes 1 to 5 set up for them. And yeah, even then he was out there all the time. So yeah, it was a great moment and got a great picture from it. So yeah, lots of fun.
Well, and am I right too, Brock, that he even had borrowed a disc to throw, so it was a disc he'd never thrown before?
Yeah. They just grabbed a stack and walked over there. So
Just as a quick sidebar, Jeremy, and we always, I think this is our first sidebar of the night. But while we're talking about aces, we've spoken about aces with every other player that we've had on the, disc golfer we've had on the podcast. Have you been lucky enough to have any aces?
So you're bringing up painful memories here.
Oh, sorry, don't mean to. Yeah.
Warming up for my one round at Rundle and River City Cup this year. My fourth warm-up shot on T6 goes in the basket.
Really?
So it doesn't count as an ace because it wasn't my first shot.
I was going to ask.
It wasn't during a round. So no, I don't have an ace.
You've thrown it in on one shot, but you just can't call it an ace. I gotcha.
That's what Joe Henderson was talking about, that she just goes out to the course and set up her, that's how she kind of got into social media, was setting up her camera, just throwing repetitive shots at the basket to try and get that ace on film. And then it turns out that she got one in a tournament anyway. But they don't count if they're not in a tournament or in a league or in any proper play.
No, I've technically got eagles in tournaments.
Okay.
But
because we've spoken
not an ace.
Not an ace. Because we've spoken about that before. That eagles are more rare than in ace runs in disc golf. There, people have had way more aces than eagles. So you're kind of reversing that trend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't worry, Brock. I've never had an ace either. I know Jeremy's gonna bring it up in a second that he's had two, but we outnumber Jeremy tonight.
Yeah, no, I won't do that on tonight's show. We'll save that for another time. But no, that was to finish off with the Alberta hospitals. So you kind of alluded to it, that it will be back this year, which is great. Yep. So probably kind of same time frame, or in the summer. So
we're gonna give people a break. We're not gonna sandwich it between Edmonton Open and River City Cup.
Okay, good.
So we're looking at July 27th. This year, so
we can already mark our calendars.
Break. Yeah, it'll be up on Disc Golf Scene. Sorry, July 28th, the Sunday, not the Saturday.
Oh, and to let everyone know, it's a one-day tournament, 2 rounds, right? That'll be the format. And another crazy highlight to me was, we had a great meal. There was great prizes for the raffle draws that we had to put in for. And then when I got back to hole 4 in the afternoon, they'd brought out a snow cone machine and they were serving snow cones to everybody. I'm like, I've not been to a tournament where you're getting snow cones halfway through.
Yeah, and so that was if we had a few more registrations, we were actually going to have a rest hole at the snack shack, so everyone could pick up their, again, have a pop or a snow cone as kind of a little break, hit the bathrooms if they needed to, as a kind of easy little way to add spots for 4 more people if we needed to.
Yeah. So what was the total number of registrations last year, and what do we need to hit this year?
So I mean, we hit 68 out of 76 possible last year. Okay. So really close.
We're just looking for a full card.
Yeah, lots of feedback in that people would have loved to come. They just can't do 3 tournament weekends in a row.
Right.
Which River City Cup and Edmonton Open are much bigger tournaments than this one. So, now that kind of we got the competitive layout mostly set up, might see a few changes on a few holes. Definitely looking to fit in a bit more holes, because there's definitely a lot more land out there that they can't set up a permanent hole on, but we could definitely set up a temporary hole.
Oh, great.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So many good things came out of that. We got a great new tournament. It isn't a PDGA sanction because it is a fundraiser tournament. It's at the we've got the waiver and that to be on the property. But there was the other things that came out of is we now have this competitive layout for all the members who do go out and play it. So you can still play that layout even though it's not the normal one. And we've done that with a few where, I've said to Darryl, I'm like, well, this was an island hole. See if you can stick it on the island. You got to get in circle 1. Can you get to the hedges? And so it gives you a chance to practice and add a little more challenge to it. But the other thing I wanted to mention before we close off on the hospital tournament was how much money did you end up raising? Because I know there was a fundraiser, and I think the hospital was kind of surprised with how much you raised through the tournament. Yeah,
I think the total came to $4,051 for that. So that was made up by the fundraiser discs that EDGA provided us with, which were awesome. So those were Color Glow Firebirds that we just did a silent auction for. We had 20 of them. The actual discs that everyone got for registration, we had a few extras to sell at the end, and then some sponsor donations from some of my buddies who the Coroplast signs with the dogs on them. That was their sponsorship donation, and then the raffle sales at the end definitely helped a lot too. So
awesome.
Great. Well,
I want to go on another little. I want to go on another little sidebar, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you have we haven't got around to it yet, but we know that you have a hot take on dogs. But while Brock keeps bringing it up, just a little bit sidebar on me is that when I was in the British Army, I used to be a dog handler. So any dog agility, dog handling, dog rearing, and all that sort of thing, that really hits home with me. I've had lots of dogs in my lifetime, so that's pretty cool.
Very nice.
We learned something new about you tonight.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Come out, you sign up for Doubles League, you'll definitely get to meet my caddy, who's our youngest dog, Biggs.
Nice.
So he's gonna bark at you for the first 5 minutes, and then he'll be fine.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll come out because Jeremy has his opinion on dogs on disc golf courses, but we won't get to that. We'll get to that another day. Yeah, so we appreciate your time on the podcast, Brock. We don't want to keep you too late. We appreciate all the time you've given us so far, but we like to finish these episodes off with, I'm sure you've seen it before, we're going to end it with the Desert Island Disc segment. The story, as you know, it goes with that you were on a ship and you got shipwrecked on a desert island, but fortuitously there was an 18-hole disc golf course on there. Which 3 discs are you hoping that you take with you?
Okay, so I came prepared. I brought the actual discs. So I putt with Envies. So
nice.
This is a Glow Envy.
Right.
One of my first dye jobs. A little disappointed in how the purple showed up. But obviously the black is looking pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Premium plastic, nice weather. I don't have to worry about tackiness or anything like that, and I can throw it in a pinch.
Yeah.
Then I've got my EDGA dyed TL3 from last year.
Okay,
so that's kind of my backhand disc. Primarily forehand thrower, so that 8-9 speed slot is kind of where I max out. And then I've got my B-Rock Shrike here. That's my max
awesome.
distance on forehand. And then in a pinch, it's my overstable backhand disc.
So that nice. B-Rock, is that one that came that way, or is that another dye job that you did?
Yeah, that's another dye job I did. I actually used Bing Create to make some AI-generated bees playing instruments.
I love it.
That's awesome. So you went with the Shrike, the TL3, and the Envy. So no mid-range?
No, not a huge fan of mid-ranges in general. I bag a few, but they don't come out of the bag very often. If I need I can usually just use the Envy to fill in or power down on one of the other discs. So
nice. There you go.
Gotcha.
So Shrike, TL3, and an Envy. I like how
Those-
people think about these courses or this desert island disc like it's an actual course, and they need to figure out if it's going to be windy, they need overstable, they need to carry water or whatever. But there is no course; it's just an imaginary course. Are those discs picked on your favorite discs? So like those are the three main discs that you throw all the time, or do you have them nice? Did you pick them because they have the sweet dye jobs on them?
Half because of the dye jobs. I mean the NV. I mean, I normally putt with an Electron NV during the year, so that's just not exciting to throw or to show up on there. But no, the TL3 and the Shrike come out pretty often. If I need a backhand shot off the tee, it's probably the TL3. If I need a forehand shot, it's probably the Shrike. So.
Well, I think, Darryl, we recently touched up our bags and changed a disc out, right? So we still have our 3 with a new disc.
Only because
in
you
there.
made me.
Yes, I did. I made you mix it up. So what we'll have to do is if we get out there with Brock, we'll put you to the test there, and all 3 of us will take our Desert Island discs and play a quick 9 holes and see what happens maybe.
Deal.
There you go. That's a good thing for the future. If we ever do get around to play with any of the guests that we've had on our show, we can hold them to their Desert Island disc trio, and that would be a good format to play. Yeah, exactly.
Mark, he was kicking and screaming, but we made it happen anyways.
I just want to put it out there. We're still yet to go out and play with Kristen, even though she said we were going to. Obviously, things change and things come up, work commitments and things like that, so we understand it. But we haven't forgotten Kristen. We're still going to get out there and play around with you and Tim if he wants to tag along as well. I'm sure he might just bring his Firebirds.
Yeah, somewhere on the south side, Darryl says. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere on. Yeah, we can play at that new sweet Southside course that when it comes up.
Awesome. Well, Brock, thank you so much for your time tonight. You've been really gracious with it. We've learned a lot, and we appreciate everything that you're doing, both for the disc golf community as a whole and doing it specifically for the Edmonton Disc Golf League and then the Alberta connection that you've got. You're just committing all your spare time, it sounds like, to disc golf, and we appreciate it. And we wanted to give you a chance now is that if there was anything else you wanted to talk about or shout out, now's your time. Go ahead.
Yeah, so thanks to Innova Canada for sponsoring our bag tags and helping out with the NISCA tournament last year. If anyone's interested in working with them, getting some bag tags of your own, Innova Canada on Facebook, you can reach out to Darryl Banks. He's kind of the rep for Canada working out of Ontario. Really great resource, even just to talk about disc golf, running tournaments, that kind of thing. Shout out to Pursuit of Motion for sponsoring Tundra Toss coming up here. And we've got some more sponsors coming up soon to be announced, hopefully. And then awesome. The other teaser is at the end of April. We're hoping to run a competitive doubles event. That will be a qualifier for the U.S. Doubles Championship at the Winthrop course.
Wow. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's something for us to work forward to, Jeremy.
Yeah, we're going to have to work on our doubles game, Darryl. We haven't even tried that yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know a good league.
Do you?
There you go. Yeah. Winthrop. So remind me where that is?
It is in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and disclaimer, you have to get yourself there. You get entered into the tournament, but no free ride all the way.
Gotcha.
That's fair. You can't ask for everything. You can ask for it, but you're not going to get it.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. Awesome.
Well, thanks a lot, Brock. We appreciate it, and I'm sure I'll catch you Friday night. I'll catch you tomorrow night at the clinic. We'll see you then.
Yeah, looking forward to it. See you guys.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Brock.
Darryl, what do you got to say about that?
I'm speechless. Every episode, it's good that we get these guests on because it takes the pressure off us. I think, we're kind of our own worst critics when we have our flying solo episodes. We look back on them and we think, well, I was a little bit off this week. I was a little bit off my game. I wasn't funny enough. I wasn't, I stumbled over my words, whatever the scenario might be. But, when we have our guests on, we know who's doing the heavy lifting in the episodes. When we get the guests on and we can just ask them questions and, find out more about everything, more about them, more about EDGA, more about disc golf. That's what I'm all about.
Well, and you're right, and that's what does impress me too about the guests when you say it is that you and I we work along and we feel that we're still honing our craft and trying to get better with each episode. And then we bring on
Yeah.
a guest, they're on one time and they nail it.
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
nail it. And Brock did it, Joe did it. Everybody we've had on just seems to come on the show and it's like they've been doing this forever and we're the ones still figuring it out.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know how that happens, but yeah, if that is the case, we're just going to keep getting better every episode. So, there are going to be times, not everyone is going to be hit out of the park. But, hopefully people do find joy in these podcasts and they just keep getting better and better. And, we've got more exciting guests lined up. We're
do.
always in the background. We're always putting the feelers out. We're asking different people. So, the guests are only going to get better and better.
Yeah, and with that, as we always say, is that if there's somebody that you want to hear from or you think would be a good guest, let us know. We can use that information to reach out to them and say, our listeners are asking to hear from you. So if there's somebody you want to hear on the podcast on Chainout, drop us a message, let us know who it is, maybe even tag them in it, and that will help as well.
Spoiler alert, Gannon and Simon are busy, so we can't get them just yet. But we've got them in, they're on the list for the future.
That's right. Well, we like to wrap up our shows with a little bit of updates on the other things that are going on in the Edmonton disc golf community. And one of those is Winter League. Winter League resumed again. We got to play last week. We played at Rundle and we played in the snow. It was snowing while we were out there. There was snow from before. I headed out. It was not a lot of people did, but I threw ribbons on my discs. Mark threw ribbons on his, but a lot of other people just took the chance, and I think there was only one lost disc out of 12 people who came out on Saturday.
How did you find throwing with the ribbons on? I've heard mixed reviews. You got to weigh up the pros and cons of not actually losing your disc versus, did it fly any different?
Yeah, with me, I'm not consistent enough to be able to tell you whether it flew different or not. I could make up excuses and say, oh, that disc didn't go as far because of that ribbon, but I'm sure with my game at the moment, it's not impacting it significantly. So,
did you find it more understable, more overstable, or is it just a distance thing?
No, it's maybe more on the distance side of it, if anything, because you now got a little bit of a wind drag on it. But I'm using the ribbons that you would wrap a present with. There were some guys out there who were using, they weren't with our group, they were just out playing, but they were using flagging tape, like that stretchy pink, fluorescent pink, fluorescent orange. And they said that was not good and they wouldn't be doing that again. It was, not only was it, dragging, but it would also freeze and break. So if you're looking for something to put on your discs for winter disc golfing, get some of that thin, foil type ribbon that you would wrap a present with. That's probably the best stuff to use. But I should shout out, well, with the week and with the league round there, the snow must have impacted it because nobody shot lights out. It was the highest, or I guess the lowest score of the week was, again, Uncle Steve Newman with a -3. And then there was a bunch of people with -2, even. I shot +7 at Rundle, so I'm still fighting to get back down to a close to even score. But it was just maybe the weather, maybe the snow, maybe the fact that there's some snow falling. I don't know how that impacts as you're throwing your disc through. But that was what the hot score was. So way to go, Steve, to get that again.
Yeah.
And that's what I know about Winter League.
Right. Yeah. And it's good to keep an update.
Yeah. And then yesterday we talked that it was Putting League. When we were talking there with Mike giving us the gift at the beginning of the show. I know it's been a long episode, so hopefully you remember that part.
I do. Yeah, that was way back in the beginning, a couple hours ago.
There you go.
A couple of beers ago.
Yeah, that too. But no, Putting League was good. Again, we had a nice turnout this time. I tried to count, and I say tried to count because people are moving around and that, but I got about 25, I believe. 25, maybe up close to 30 people. So that's who came out. Terry, of course, was there again representing BR Disc Golf. Yeah. And do you want to try and guess what today's or yesterday's putting game was?
So first episode or first week was straddle putt. Second week was Anheuser putt.
Yes.
What could it be? It wouldn't be forehand. What could it be? Elevated basket. That's what I'm going with.
Oh no, but that's a good one. I could see her doing that. I'm glad you said that. She could be putting one on a chair or something and making us throw the elevated basket. But technically, I'll say you're half right. So what we had to do,
it was a basket.
Yeah. Well, there was some elevation involved, is what I'm going to tell you. So what it was,
you had an obstacle. You had to putt over something. No, okay. I'll let you explain. Sorry, go ahead.
Why did you guess again? You just keep guessing. No, but it was you had to be down on one knee, and you had to throw from a knee. So if you were stuck, underneath a spruce tree or something like that, yeah. And again, I think it was Kevin Pattison put. I think he put 14 in, so he was the guy who kind of led from there. Yep. Yeah. And then the other thing we might have mentioned is there's a Frozen Ace competition that we do every putting league night, and there's also a 50-50. So the 50-50 is just a draw if your number gets picked, and then you win half the pot. But the Frozen Ace draw is the one where if your name gets drawn, you get one putt at 35 feet with the champ cap on top of that basket.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this week, Quinn got his name drawn, and he was lined up. He's one of those guys where you're like, yeah, this guy has a chance at nailing this one. And if you get that, you win the pot that's been growing. If you don't, I think you might get $5, and then the rest of the money goes to the next week for the next Frozen Ace competition. So it could build and build. Yep. So now 3 weeks in, nobody's put one in, but Quinn gave it his best. But it just wasn't his night for that, because it's a lot of pressure, because we're all watching you.
Right.
It's 35 feet. There's a champ cap, and you've got one disc, one shot. Put it in.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's hard enough doing a 35 putt with no champ cap on, let alone with people watching you. That add even more pressure, and then put the champ cap on as well. Like, I mean, fair play to anybody that wins it. I find that. Do you know, did they do the same thing last putting league? Like, did it ever go?
No, we never did it last putting league. This is new for this year. So,
right. Well, I mean, if someone nails it, then all the power to them, because that, that would just be that one in a million shot, right?
Well, and we talked to Brock about how it felt when he was, going into day number 3 of the Night Owl tournament and being in first place going into that, and the pressure that must have been. But I guess that's the closest really at this point that you and I would get to being Chantel Badinsky trying to put that putt in for the win at the Flying Disc Open, or being Thomas Gilbert trying to do it, whether you're representing Canada in the games and such. Is that they're facing that kind of pressure on a regular basis. And I know it's just a Frozen Ace pot, but at least that you could maybe get some semblance of what it might be like with all the eyes staring on you. One putt for all the marbles.
Yeah, exactly. Does everybody go quiet? Does just hush fall on the banquet room, or are there people chanting? Like, how does it go?
It does go pretty quiet. I tried to get a drum roll going. I was
right. I think that's the way I would be if I ever got picked, and if I was in the putting league, whatever. Like they do at the long jump. They start waving their hands across above the head, get the slow clap going, and then get it going faster and faster and faster, and then launch the putt, and then be nowhere near anyway. So.
Oh, that would be fun. I like it. If I get pulled, I'll do that in your honor.
Do me a favor. If you ever get pulled, give somebody your camera, and you've got to film it.
Okay, yeah, that's a great idea. We'll do that for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so putting league was good. You had a good time out there. Everything was going good.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm still sitting at about. It's 18 putts from my first week is the most that I've sunk of the 25 that I've gotten in the basket. This week I did have a 17 round, which was okay. But in my division, in the intermediate division, Wally showed up and put 19 in. So he's now taken the lead as the most putts for the intermediate division.
Wow. Okay. So you were leading with 18. You didn't tell me you were leading.
Well, I was tied for the lead. It was me and Miller and I think Quinn. I think we all had 18 in one of our rounds.
Okay.
But yeah, now Wally's gone and taken the sole first place for now.
Right.
For now, I say. Wally, we're coming to get you. I know if Miller's listening, I know he's doing the same thing. He's ready to take it.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Give you something to work for.
Yes. Well, Darryl,
Well,
what's it looking like out there now that we've, what was it? It's been another hour since we last checked the Tundra toss or so?
probably been an hour, maybe an hour and a half since we last checked. And I'm just going to give you a final check-in for tonight. What did we say the total registration was going to be? 76?
Yes.
76 players. We're currently, after just a couple hours, it's currently just coming up to 10 o'clock. So within 2 hours, we're about halfway. So currently there are 31 players registered for Tundra Toss already. Yeah. Just scrolling through the names here, there's quite a few names that we've already mentioned. Dylan Froelich, he's in the MPO division. Obviously, you play with him in Winter League. He's leading the Winter League, I believe.
Yep.
Kristen Swirls, Chainout's own friend of the podcast, Kristen Swirls. She's registered for FPO. Terry Hong, Zoe Lorenz Bozer, she's in the FPO division as well. Kelly Briggs, he's in the MP40. Matt Lysek, who we've shouted out before. Four people in the MP40 division. I think 3 of them we've mentioned on the podcast and 4 that we've played with. In the MP40, you've got Jason Venekamp, who we played with at Battle 6 there in Wetaskiwin. Kelly Briggs, Matt Lysek, and Steve Newman are all registered for... So Uncle Steve is registered in the MP40.
Well, you said Matt Lysek. I just want to say he's from the Parked Pro group and the Northern Flights podcast. And also, I am proud to say that I am a member of Team Lysek. So maybe at Tundra Toss there, I can get some more instruction and advice on what I have to do to represent Team Lysek in a good way.
Yeah, I know there's a video that has been recorded, and I'm eagerly anticipating that video coming out. And as soon as it does, we'll share it across all our platforms, and I'm sure they'll share it as well.
Yeah, that's a teaser. You guys just pay attention. There's something coming, and it's going to be good.
Dropping down to MA1, somebody we've already mentioned tonight, Gavin Beamish. He's registered in MA1. A couple other persons in there. Another person that you might remember or might know his name in MA1. Somebody called Mark Thompson.
Oh, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Mark Thompson, already registered in MA1. So that'll be a good battle there. Gavin and Mark going up against each other. Tyler is in that division as well. Another friend of the show registered in FA1. Can you guess who that might be?
In FA1, another friend of the show. You're putting me on the spot, my friend.
Don't take so long. It's the person that wanted your autograph. The person that recognized you.
Jana is in there?
Jana's registered as the FA1. Yeah, currently she's the only FA1 registered. Yeah, that's awesome. MA40, our division, Jeremy, is 8 spots available. 7 of them are taken. So our division is... I know, right? So me, you... Nick Legault, he's in there as well.
Out of St.
Travis Bouchard, who ex-vice president of EDGA, he's been mentioned tonight. Couple other people, Duncan Holness, Joel Ellard, and Ryan Smooth, all signed up for MA40, so that's going to be a stacked division. MA2, Quinn, you were mentioning there, Tyler Fisher, Jordan Bezovi, and Jacob Tenhove, all in MA2. And then rounding out MA4, Kevin Topping, who we've mentioned before on the podcast, I'm sure. Joshua, Jason, and David all registered in there. So currently, as of just about 5 to 10 on registration day, let me just refresh it. We got somebody else who's just registered, but I don't know where they are. So 32 total people registered in for Tundra Toss right now. So definitely, I'm going to guess by the time this episode comes out, if you snoozed, you lose.
Yes, and what we should say about that is we did our best, Darryl. We tried to let people know this is going to be an important tournament.
Sorry, I was just going to say we did our best, but I mean it's a good thing. If the competition, if the tournament sells out, then that's a good thing. It, obviously maybe it might have been in part to our promoting the event. You never know.
Well, it could be. We hope we can help that way, and we're going to bring you more attention to more tournaments, and especially ones that we're going to enter and ones that are local. But our list right now is all Canada. It's Alberta. It's BC. Possibly Saskatchewan. That's where we're looking to play this year. As we register for them, we'll let you know where we're playing. So in case you're interested in coming out and hanging out with us and having a good time that way, we'd love to see people from the Edmonton area at the tournaments that we're playing in.
And that's the other big thing as well. Yeah, not only are we going to be in this tournament, we're obviously going to be part of the tournament as well. We're going to be part of the halftime the halftime show. We're going to be around. We're going to be on site. So even if you don't come down for the tournament, if you just come down for the welcome day portion of it, if you're just picking up your bag tag, we'll be on site. If you're not registered but you still want to give us a chat, come over and find us. Tap us on the shoulder. We're very approachable. Tell us you want to be on the podcast, or even let us know that you listen to the podcast. We'll give you a quick interview. We'll give you a shout out, and it'd be nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, and you'll hear us mention this a lot. It's something that we talk about when we're not on the air, and that's continuous improvement. So when you do see us out there, that's going to be our first time going live. So be patient with us. Yeah. We're going to do the best we can. We know what we'd like it to be. We don't know what it's going to end up to be, but whatever it is, it'll be better the next time and the next time and the next time.
Are we going live?
I don't know. Well, we're doing something.
Yeah. I know we were recording interviews and we're going to put them together. Maybe we'll go live as well. Maybe that's the first. Maybe we'll do a live section. We'll do a live portion of the broadcast. Maybe it'll be live on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. I haven't done a YouTube live before, but in my past, I've done some volleyball, some kids volleyball commentating. And I used to do some Facebook Live videos, so those are something that can go on there. But I think the one thing about doing a Facebook Live at Tundra Toss is all the people we're trying to reach are probably going to be at Tundra Toss.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I've done YouTube Live and I've done Instagram Live, so we can pick one of those, or maybe we'll figure out something. We'll go live somewhere, and but we'll be there. And maybe this is a little bit of a spoiler. This isn't going to be the only tournament that we're going to be at this year. We're going to be participating in other tournaments, but I'm sure we're going to be doing some other things for the Chain Out podcast during the downtime and in between rounds and before and afterwards and everything like that. So stay tuned in the Edmonton area or any of the tournaments that we're mentioning, because you never know where we might just crop up.
That's right. And you'll also be able to know which ones to avoid if you don't want anything to do with us.
Exactly. Okay, Jeremy.
Episode
it's been a fun episode.
In the books.
Yeah. Another great episode. We're going to be looking forward to another great interview next week.
Yes, we are. And we are cautious about calling that out. We have an interview planned. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But right now, we've got one booked, and it's another exciting interview, and we can't wait to see you then.
Absolutely.
So, at this point here, Darryl.
Yeah. Go for it.
You're going to head to the Alberta Hospital Fundraiser tournament this summer. That's got to be on our list, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I'm sure just like last year, Brock is going to have some special discs set up, some of these Halo Firebirds or something like that. We're going to auction on them. We're going to grab them. If we've got a Firebird in our bag and we're on that hole 3 island and we're tossing that thing, as long as we don't throw it past the hole, we throw it on the island at the basket. There's one thing that Firebird's not going to do.
It would never.
It would never do what? It would never chain
out. There you go. I had to add it in this week.
Awesome.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
See you next time. Bye.